Au revoir.
Okay, welcome back to another episode of FitPet Boston Talks. My name is Leah Lodato, and I am the host of the show. And today I am joined by my spouse, Lori.
Hello.
And how you doing today, Lori?
I'm okay. How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing okay. It was a busy day.
Yeah, you froze today.
It wasn't as cold as it was yesterday.
This was the week of the nor'easter.
Yeah, the nor'easter that never showed.
Quarter inch.
What was the prediction?
Originally 6 to 9. And then 6 to 12. Yeah. Then they said 6 to 8. And then they said, looks like it's moving south. But that was after everybody canceled everything, including myself.
Yep.
And yeah. So we called that God's trying to tell you need a day off day.
Yeah, so Monday, the forecast was saying that we were supposed to have 6 to 12 inches coming on Tuesday, and it was supposed to come from 6 a.m. to like 2 p.m. right in working hours. So everybody said, we're not going to open tomorrow. And then we woke up and there was no snow. And then as the day went on, there was no snow. And I was like, this is stupid. I was so mad.
They started changing the totals, and then when it would show up. They said, it's going to show up at 9 now. Go 9 to 3. It didn't show up.
Literally a dusting. A dusting.
Yeah, it was nothing.
It was nothing.
I mean, my back
depressed.
was happy. I didn't have to shovel and clean.
Yes.
Shovel.
Yeah, I was glad that we didn't have any more precipitation because it would be really nice this year, praying to the weather gods, if outdoors would be a little less soggy because last year was so wet the whole year. The woods, the fields, the everythings.
Yeah.
Not the end of the universe or anything like that, but if you're a dog person heading out into the woods, or our beautiful field in Framingham was a little wet last year. So hopefully this year it'll be a little bit more dry.
Yeah. And it was Valentine's Day this week.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us, our dogs are our Valentines.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a good thing.
It is a good thing.
Dad said something funny the other day.
What did he say?
He was checking out, because Dad got Facebook about a year ago.
This is Laurie's dad.
Yeah. Augie. And he said, and he's so funny because I go, Dad, now that you're on Facebook, you know that you have to like every single thing that Leah and I post.
Oh, and he does.
FitPet Boston and ABC. He's like, what? I said, yes, Dad, you have to like everything. So one day I see him with his head in his hands at the kitchen counter. Oh, I go, what's going on, Dad? I'm exhausted. I've never liked so many things in my whole life. So he would not only like the whole post, he would like each individual picture. And
yeah.
He found it exhausting.
Yeah.
I never liked so many things my whole life. And then he saw a video, because sometimes you'll post a video of, what's to come for, FitPet Boston Talks. I thought that little room, was no big deal. And then I saw it in the video, and it looks really nice there with Melissa there sitting on the sofa petting the dog. It looked like a really good room. I didn't tell you that. I said, yeah, Dad, it's a nice room.
I know. It's like my little.
You dim the lights. You put
layer.
your Christmas lights on that stay year round.
Yeah.
This is nothing but class.
It's a little messy right now because it is tax season.
It's actually not that bad.
It's not that bad. I got some papers and notebooks and just crap.
I did taxes yesterday, and I just wanted to stab myself in the eye.
Mm-hmm. It is serious business.
It's so annoying.
It is annoying. It is annoying.
We pay a lot of money.
We pay a lot of money in taxes, you guys. And I think more people have like side hustles than they did in the past. So maybe people are a little bit more attuned to what actually happens when you make money in the United States of America. But you can just go ahead and skim 30% right off the top because it's just going to Uncle Sam.
Social Security.
Yeah. So when you think that your service provider's prices are outrageous, just remember we pay taxes on that money. Doesn't go into our pocket. And it's tough to make a living. It sure is. And I try to keep my prices both of our prices are very reasonable.
I just get pissed off at taxes.
We occasionally do
It's fine.
Yeah, we do a survey of the landscape with dog training, pricing, walking, this and that. And I would say we are extremely reasonable. But yeah, taxes every year just boils my blood. Boils my blood. But hey, it's no other place I'd rather live, so I'm gonna take it as it comes. And yeah, shout out to my person that prepares my taxes, John Allen up in Beverly. I started with him 7 years ago. Go up there,
still with that fella
every single March. Drop him off and pick him up. He's a great guy. Pen and paper type of place.
Me too.
Pen and paper type of place. You go into this tax office and it's like walking into a time warp. It's like you just
floral wallpaper.
I mean, they have in the front. It's like all fake plants.
Yes, perfect.
Yep.
They don't die.
All fake plants. Everybody has a desk. The computer is like off to the side, so there's no like monitors in your face. And they pen and paper. I mean, everything is electronic now at the very end, but
are they the steel desks?
Yes, the what is it called? American something or other.
I love it. I have it downstairs.
Yeah,
it's my favorite desk.
The place has not changed in forever.
The old metal desks your teachers used to have.
Yes.
What is the name?
I don't know. But,
oh my God.
But you have one downstairs.
Yeah, I love that desk. I freaking got it shipped from California to get that desk.
You do.
It was my bougie.
All right, let's do a little intro here before we get started on whatever we're talking about today. If you're new to the podcast, thank you so much for checking out this show. If you're listening on Apple, Spotify, or iHeartRadio, please rate and review the podcast if what you're hearing is of any value to you whatsoever. It helps us to get the word out to more people, keep growing. If you like what you hear, share it with your friends. That's kind of the best way for us to grow the project. It's not for me to put out ads or try to advocate or whatever, advertise myself. If you like what you're hearing, share it. I want it to be an authentic little project. Historically, I've sat down and interviewed local Boston area dog handling professionals, and we've talked about our lives, dogs, and careers. So there's a whole catalog of people in the Boston area. Some of them are still working with dogs. Some of them are not, but it will give you an idea of who's around and what they're like. I think that it's great to allow people to talk in a long form way because so much of what we consume is just these short little snippets, and we don't really get an idea of who a person is, what they've gone through, how they got to where they are. And the whole point of this show is to provide a platform for local people to do that. I've taken a little bit of a step back from that, but I have some ideas for this upcoming year. And last week we had Melissa on, and she's going to be on the episode for next week as well. And Melissa's a great dog trainer working in the area as well. If you have any questions for her, you can reach out to her at This Dog Lady on Instagram. Melissa's a great friend of ours. So, Lori, what do you want to talk about today?
We're here to talk about you, Leah.
Oh, really?
And your accomplishments.
I did have an accomplishment this weekend. It was a surprise.
It was a big one.
It was a big one, and it was quite a surprise. So I brought Raven to a trial, the West Corgi. Oh, dang, I messed up. We call it the Corgi trial.
That's good enough.
Okay, so sometimes, can you actually explain trials and how breed clubs will sponsor a trial and how that works?
But you just said it.
Yeah, so there's a club that, like, for example, I have applied to be in the Labrador Retriever Club of Greater Boston. In order to be in the club, I have to have a lab, which I do. So there are different breed clubs all over the place. So the Corgi Club hosted this trial.
And sometimes those breeds will get,
preferential treatment at the trial.
Preference, that's the word I was looking for. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but then after, the breed is filled up, they'll, accept other people and their breeds.
Yeah, so
all breeds.
The trial was open to people who had corgis first. So you could enter, and you would definitely get in if you were entered between these dates, and then everybody else could sign up. Didn't matter what type of dog that you have, but preference is given to the corgis, and then they have special awards at the trial for the corgis that score high.
Right, like you could get third place among all the dogs, but if your corgi, scored, next to three others, you could come in first for corgis.
Precisely.
Right.
And the ribbons say.
Are fabulous, by the way.
The ribbons are fabulous.
They are. Sometimes, at this point, you're going for the ribbons. You're spending a lot of money on these trials.
Yes.
And you get a ribbon.
I would say that the trials are very reasonably priced. Especially the last one that I did with the beginner novice, the double at Silver City. Like the second trial was like $18 or something like that.
And sometimes they offer discounts to beginners. People who are doing beginner novice or rally novice. Yeah, I think that's nice. It trying to bring people into trialing, or at least a younger group. We always say that. Yes.
If you are a younger trainer, please give it a try. I'm not just saying it because I have been successful. I think that it's a great metric to test your skills, even if it's just a beginner novice title, to get yourself in a situation that's challenging and give you something to work towards that you and your dog can do together. And there are a lot of older folks at these trials, and I don't think that that's a bad thing, but I would love to see some more younger people. And I'm 38 years old, and I'm one of the youngest people there. So this is not, I'm not calling myself particularly young, but it would be great to see some younger people at these events because it's fun. And once you start doing it and get that snowball rolling down the hill, I think that it's a really rewarding thing, and it's a good thing for, especially if you're a dog trainer, to do.
But I think dog people too are very quiet and to themselves. And usually if you ask a dog person, oh, what do you do? There's not many interests outside of dog training because it takes over your entire life. So it's kind of nice just to get out there for a hobby. And you might do it. But the whole thing about bringing in younger people is, the older people are going to fade out here. So who's going to be left? And then the judges, the judges are all older. I don't think I've met a judge who's under
50.
Yeah. Well, maybe 45. I think the judges are like 45 and up.
Yeah.
That might be a fair assessment.
Well, it takes a lot to be a judge. You have to go through all the way to, I think, masters and rally, and you have to get a utility title.
To be an obedience judge.
And then you have to steward. For many hours. So it's not an easy thing to become a judge. I don't exactly know the ins and outs of it. Other people that we work with could surely tell you, but I know that just being able to have the achievements in order to become a judge it's a lot. So yeah, that utility title is no joke. It's a very difficult test. So to back up a little bit, so we're talking about AKC obedience. I competed with Raven this weekend for our novice title, and we got our title in 3 tries.
3 tries, bing, bang, boom.
Bing, bang, boom, which is very unusual. I'm not giving myself props. I am remaining humble because I had 0 expectations of passing in 3 tries, mostly because I did not pass my beginner novice title in 3 tries, and I know better than anybody that once you get into that ring, anything can happen. You can be trained and you can be ready, but the wind blows in a different direction and you can lose your dog. Things that are happening on the sidelines can distract your dog. And sometimes because we're nervous as a handler, when we get into the ring, our dogs can be like, hey, what the hell are you doing? You're giving off all these kind of weird vibes and I'm just going to act like I never have before. So I definitely was not expecting to pass in 3 tries, but I will say that we were ready. I think before I left on Friday, I said to Lori, I'm like, we definitely can do all of these things. She's more than capable. And we went into the test ready to trial.
Yeah, that's the best. That's the way you should feel before you sign up for your trial. You should say, and I said the same thing with Buddha when we were doing open. I said, what else can I do? He knows every single exercise. What happens in the day, I don't know, but I know that he knows these things. So it's either going to be my fault or, I don't know, maybe they'll get sassy, do something different. I mean, all they have to do is break a sit. You know, it's just like so easy to NQ.
It's very easy
You
to
could tell the dog to sit, walk away, and they just stand and you NQ. So, but at least your dog knows everything. Mm-hmm. You can have they never did that before moment. And that's that. But it's good to go in knowing the exercises, if I had to give any advice to anyone entering a trial, I would say don't enter if your dog doesn't know the exercises and you don't feel confident. Like if you have one exercise your dog is struggling with and they're not doing it at any of the practices, it's different when they keep jackpotting you, the dog. Sometimes they do it, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they do it, sometimes they don't. Then you're going to enter the trial. But if a dog is religiously not doing it, or you need other equipment to get the dog to do it, or to aid the dog, that could just be like a long line, then don't do it. At least be able to fade the equipment during practice, because once you get in there and the long line's not on your dog, the chances of them doing it, no. That's how I feel.
Yes, what a great point. So I went into the trial weekend knowing that she did know everything. I honestly wasn't even thinking on any exercise that she wouldn't do it. The weakest part of our routine was heeling on leash. The heeling off the leash was like really, really good in all 3 cases. She did very well. And Laurie brought up a really good point, and the point was like, we do so much stuff with our dog on the leash. And, when we're walking around in a loose leash, even though, I practice a different command for like loose leash walking and all that, it can sometimes get a little bit sloppier to be on the leash. So if anything, I am going to work more heeling on the leash. And when we do our rally practices from now on, even if I'm doing like master signs or excellent signs, I think I'm just going to put the leash on her for 1 or 2 of the runs just to kind of get that practice in.
Because Leah and I were saying, Buddha especially, we lost so many points in healing. Thank God that we picked it up everywhere else, because we got very good points for all the other exercises. And I was just embarrassed because I was like, this dog is just not healing. And then he's such a ham that when we were walking around the ring, these group of women were facing the ring. They were far back. They were the first row. And one of them made eyes at him. And that's all Buddha needs. He's like, hey, good looking. And he paused. And you have to continue walking as a handler. You can't stop. So you have to continue walking. And I know that he had stopped to look at these women. And then I heard them laughing. And I'm like, oh, God, now they're laughing at him. And he's going to go into like Buddha mode, which is like therapy dog mode. And I mean, I could be walking on the street, guys, and if he sees somebody looking at him in the car, he stops and looks back. He's like, hey, here I am. So he eventually would catch up with me, and that would save me. But I'm like, what the hell, kid? We walk all the time. We could be walking in the woods, guys, and he won't leave my side. Ask Leah, or he'll be at Leah's side. I'm like, go be a dog. This is your time. Why can't you do this in the ring? So I said to Leah, I think it's because, Buddha and I do a lot of neighborhood walks, and I don't use my heel command, but he's kind of used to just calooping around on a leash, not pulling, just moving along. And I thought somehow it must have translated to the ring. I don't see it I've been dropping the leash in practice for putting a tab line on him for practice, and I'm seeing the behavior he does in the ring. So that's helped. So I've used different rewards. Tug toys have helped. The tab line helps kind of keep him in order. So that's how I'm working on it.
And it is one of those situations like when you're at auntie's or in the yard or even in a field, like he has nice attention. It's that sometimes the ring itself is so distracting and difficult. And I mean, I've seen you guys in rally and like, I think you're a little bit more relaxed. And so the healing is super.
Yeah,
it's really, really nice.
I mean, sometimes he can be slow, but when he's on, he's just right by my side. Doop-de-doop.
Yeah, no, he's, and I think that there is something to say for the breed, you guys. I mean, I know that you can, if you watch, or if I go online and I watch people doing their BH, for example, I've probably watched about 100 videos of people competing. And Rottweilers, I've watched a lot of Rottweilers, and they don't have as that German Shepherd Malinois neck up focused healing. They drop their head a lot more, even the handlers that are really good. And sure, there are examples of like incredible focused healing from Rottweilers, but I've watched a ton of videos, and I would say that was never the criteria from the giddy up for the dog to be like looking up at you the whole time. But have been blessed with dogs like, Malinois and German Shepherds, where like they can do that, and it's amazing, and it's very trainable. But what I'm trying to say is I don't think that healing necessarily means staring up at you with the neck cranked back the whole time, because Buddha is like with you. It's just that the focus part is sometimes like he drops his head, which I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I'm trying to say that it's not like the worst thing in the world, I guess, as long as he's with you.
I don't care. I don't even care if he looks up the whole time. I just want his head up. Like, what I'm sniffing.
No. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking sniffing.
But if we're just moving along, and then like, if we go to do the figure eight, his healing is, sorry, I'm talking about the BH, not AKC, because when we go through a crowd, he's always right at my side, and his healing is so nice on the figure eight. Mm-hmm. It's like walking through a crowd is never the issue, and that's probably because anytime we walk through a crowd, I have him right by my side no matter what, and I am totally focused on it. So something's happening somewhere. It's my training. So because why is he so good in the crowd of people? I can literally just sit right next to the person, touching. You don't even have to. But he does it. Maybe it's, God forbid if they went to pet him. This is where the therapy dog thing comes in, and then I'm like...
Well, I have that problem with Raven because this weekend, one of the big takeaways that I got from this weekend is it's the little things. So what I mean by that is Raven is still pretty young. The hardest parts of the test were when the steward came over to get my leash and when the judge gave me my ribbons. Those are the hardest part of the test for her, because when the steward came over to take my leash, she was like, oh my God, it's a new person. I'm going to go say hi. And then when the judge gave me my ribbons, she was like, is that a toy? And then when I was actually in the ring, you're able to take a break in between exercises. So I'll just run through all the exercises. So you do your healing on leash, then you do your figure eight on the leash, and then the judge takes the leash. You stand your dog, you walk away from your dog, the dog touches your dog in the stand, you return to your dog.
The judge touches your dog in the stand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
said
what
the
I
dog.
just said.
I thought you said the dog.
The judge touches the dog in the stand? Yeah, that's right,
yes.
right?
Yeah, and then next.
And then you do your healing off leash, and then you do your recall, and then you sit your dog, go get your leash, and come back, put the leash on your dog, and leave the ring in control. So in between all those exercises, the judge will say exercise finished after the exercise is done. And at that point, you can do whatever you want with your dog as long as your dog's under control. You can talk to them, you can cheer them on, you can get them riled up, get ready for the next exercise. And then when you set up for the next exercise, the judge will ask you, are you ready? And you start. What I learned was that I do not need to do anything with Raven besides heel her to the next exercise.
You should not pet and praise Raven because she gets so excited,
right? She
right?
gets so excited and she starts jumping all over the place. She doesn't really jump on me, but she just thinks that like, okay, it's boogie time.
Yeah.
So.
Not yet.
So after we did our healing, the first time I did not, I said all done and I like gave her a pet. I told her she was doing a good job. Walked her over to the figure eight, and after the figure eight, I did not do that. I heeled her to the stand portion of the test, and I kept her in a heel the entire rest of the test. So that was a little thing that helped me keep her focused, because she does have the attention span to stay focused on me and stay in a heel, because we practice it a lot, and the test is only like, 7 minutes long, something like that.
Yeah, it feels like a year.
It feels like forever, but it's really not. And then... So after that first leg, I told myself, okay, no more exercise finish party time with her. And then the next 2 times that I received the middle time I received my reward, I didn't bring her into the ring. The last time I received the award I did because we got our title. And I basically just kind of said sit a million times like a noob to get her to sit without jumping all over the judge to
don't
get the
kill
ribbon.
The judge. Yeah.
So it's the little things. And I think over time that excitement will be less because it is subsiding. She's still a pretty young dog. And that definitely did play into my decision. I was signed up to do novice with her at the lab trial, and I decided to pull from the trial and to wait because the next level we're not ready for. And the reason why I didn't want to do novice again is because after you qualify in novice, you wait until all the rest of the dogs do their run, and then you get invited back into the ring to do long sits and downs. So you do a 1 minute sit, and then you do a 1 minute down. And that part of the test is very nerve-wracking for me.
I think it's such a pain.
Yeah.
It used to be 3 minutes long. Did you know that?
Holy shit. Are you kidding me?
Yep. And
I
from
would
what
die.
I heard before,
I'd be singing an entire Miley Cyrus song
the
in my head.
handlers used to leave the ring.
Oh.
But for obvious reasons, they had to stop doing that in case somebody wasn't,
Rudy.
dogs.
Leave the ring.
Dogs. See, everyone thinks 1 minute. Oh, that's not too long. How many times have you put your dog in a sit for 1 minute and had them hold it? Most dogs drop into the down or just walk away.
Most owners or handlers just get bored and forget what they're doing.
And they're next to all the other dogs with COVID spacing, But I'm telling you, a sit, I have seen for the therapy dog test, I can't tell you how many dogs break that damn sit. And then it's these little exercises that you don't think are a big deal. It's so funny that you said you can't pet and praise at the end of an exercise for Raven, because with Buddha, that is my saving grace. When we finish an exercise, I'm like, that's a great job. Good boy, Boo. All right, let's go. And you'll even see me kind of one time during a trial, I knew where I had to go for my start to do command discrimination, but I went to the wrong side. The judge goes, oh, that's the wrong side. And I'm like, oh, sorry. I knew it was the wrong side, but I was getting Buddha excited to do the next exercise, and I was trying to get his attention. So I was like, whatever, I'll just be, and you cannot touch your dog. So you cannot touch their collar. Once the dog is off leash, you're in open, you can't touch the collar. You will get NQ'd, or the judge will yell at you. I mean, you get NQ'd. No grabbing by the collar. They frown upon it. And so you finish the super boring healing, and then he loved all the other parts. All right, let's go. Then I'd line him up. You ready? I had to pump him up. I had to. Even when we were getting I learned how to take the dumbbell back in case he tried to be a punk and jump up and grab the dumbbell. He did that once, and I was like, I have to tuck this dumbbell away right away. So I learned how to, and then he didn't out the dumbbell quickly enough, not on the first out. I was like, what the hell, kid? He's never done that before. Mm-hmm. He was like almost playing tug of war with the dumbbell, which isn't a huge surprise, because when I was first getting him to love the dumbbell, I had it on a line, and I was making the dumbbell move across the floor so that he would hold it and want to hold it, because of course any Rottweiler wants something that they can't get. So that's how I was building drive, even though some people think that's not, like, they would tell me the dumbbell isn't a toy, it's a job. Mm-hmm. You can only present the reward or the quote unquote toy after the dog has retrieved it and come to you. But there was a point where I couldn't even get interest in it. So whatever, it worked.
Yeah, he's mad over it now.
Yeah, he loves it. So what was I saying? So I had to get him excited for that. And then, and for the dumbbell, I would just say, you ready, buddy? We're going to go do the dumbbell now. Then we had that small problem with the outs. That's it. So just fine-tuned from there. And the other thing was, you know how you said the steward took the leash? I experienced this first in the rally ring. For some reason, the steward took the leash, and Buddha was so fascinated by the fact that she took this, like all of a sudden his leash was a toy. I go, what the hell's going on? And I had snapped him back into it. I was like, Buddha? Because at this point I could still talk to him. We were just at the first sign. From that point on, every time I had a leash, I would hand the leash to the steward in a particular way so that he wouldn't. I would put Buddha in a sit next to me in a heel, take the leash off, and I would take 3 steps towards the steward to give her the leash so that he wouldn't have that same reaction again. And then, of course, during practice, I'm flinging the damn leash around, and I'm having someone hand me the leash and fling it at me to see if he would go after it so I could try to proof against that. I mean, dumb stuff that you think you wouldn't have to worry about. I just gave the leash, and then dumbass is all excited about it. I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Same thing with toys.
Yeah, it's little things like that. I mean, with Raven, it's so difficult. So a couple weeks ago in Pat's class, I didn't let her retrieve the dumbbell because it was so bad when she was 8 months old to a month ago, when she would see other dogs playing with the dumbbell. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Oh. When she would see other dogs playing with the dumbbell, she would lose her mind. She would just get so amped up. Nothing I could do would get her attention. And she would just be like cued in. Like she just heard gunshots and she was on the field.
She would sit in like a low squat.
Stiffen up. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So I didn't do anything when she was a puppy about it. I was like, whatever. I'd rather have her interested in it than not care. And then as time went on, I never corrected her or anything, but I asked her to hold behaviors. So ask her to hold a sit and then eventually ask her to hold it down while others were doing their dumbbell retrieve in class. And the second to the last class, I didn't actually do any retrieve with her. And it was the first time that she just laid there. And like she was interested, she was looking, but she wasn't like so amped up that she was going to, she's on her tippy toes and teeth chattering and stuff like that, which she was before, because I can't have her outside the ring while somebody else is in the ring. She sees a dumbbell, another dog playing with it, and all of a sudden I can't get her attention. Or she sees that I have the dumbbell or it's on a table or something like that, and we can't go through our healing pattern and figure 8 because she's fixated on the dumbbell. And I think a lot of that is to do with her age, because I'm seeing it get better without any input from me over time. So I think it's just going to be me being patient and not rushing into doing open with her, because there's just so many more moving parts in open, and she can do all of the parts, but proofed, they're absolutely not proofed. So I am going to take my time heading into that. I thought it was going to take me a lot longer to get through the CD, but she really outperformed this weekend. The last trial. So the way that the trial weekend worked was that there was one trial on Friday and there was 2 on Saturday.
One in the morning, one in the late afternoon.
No, they were both at the same time. And
no kidding.
In 2 rings. Yeah, that's
I didn't know that.
Oh my God, it was kind of silly. So
I didn't know that. I thought it was no kidding. So that's even worse.
Well, it was worse because we passed our second leg. So we got our first leg on Friday. And then on Saturday, we were in the same ring, same building, 2 rings. We were in the same ring first on Saturday, passed. Literally 10 minutes later, I was trialing again in the second ring.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
And she was fried.
She's like, didn't we just do this shit?
She was fried.
No?
Yeah, she was fried. She made more mistakes in the last round. And
to say that Raven is fried, I believe is saying a lot. Like, because she has just a super high level of energy. But she had also done the trial on Friday, and it's not just the trial.
It's driving there. It's her staying in the crate. It's the environment. Yeah. It's the smells.
There's dogs everywhere. There's dogs right up in your crate. Sometimes dog etiquette isn't where it should be.
Yeah, we can talk about that. I can rant about that for about 15 minutes.
Yeah, people will put things on top of your crate, or they'll be standing right in front of your crate. But it's the trial environment that just wears the dog out. Just wears him out. I remember I'd come home from a trial, put him right in his crate to have him go to sleep, because I knew the next day we were doing it again. And for rally, you're doing 3 in a day. You're doing 3 runs in a day, and if you're doing a double, that's 6 runs in a day. And if you're doing a Friday and a Saturday, well, that could be 9.
And rally is a little bit more forgiving because the runs are much quicker. So you can run through a rally
2 minutes,
like
less than 2 minutes.
Whereas the obedience is for open, it's long, utility is long. And then for the novice, you have your routine and then you go back for those damn sits and downs.
I know. And it's like, because you passed everything.
Mm-hmm.
So you just want to be done with it. That's why the CDX was so nice. You did your exercises and you're done. You weren't dreading going back in for the sit or the down. And if your dog doesn't do it, you NQ.
You can pass the whole everything.
And look beautiful.
Healing, on and off leash, figure 8, stands, recalls, get your leash, yada, yada, yada. You can do beautiful. And then you're walking back to your dog on the long down and your dog gets up.
I know.
And you fail the whole kit and caboodle.
Yep. You might slide in there if the judge says exercise finished. And when they're doing figure 8s, when they hug the cone super tight that the dog feels like it's got to hop over with its ass. I'm like, give the dog some room, damn it. It's all right. You can leave a little room between the cone. And another thing about the dumbbells too, if 2 trials are going on at the same time, like you have somebody with utility. I mean, there's like 6 dumbbells clanking around in the next ring, all sitting there like pieces of meat. And your dog is supposed to be in the next ring either doing rally or your beginner novice boring stuff when there's dumbbells to fetch across the way. And another thing is somebody else is yelling commands at their dog over there. I mean, how many times is another dog, when things go really, just don't go well for the other handler in the other ring, their dog hops the damn fence and recalls to the other side. Mm. Or you could be in the rally ring and there's a figure 8 with distraction with stuffed animals. And your dog, if they're stuffed animal obsessed, has to complete their exercising knowing that those fuzzy things are over there. So they really have to get used to other dogs having fun. So in the training room, it's really nice because there's dumbbells being thrown everywhere and your dog has to focus on you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the training is really where the work gets put in for that stuff. Like, don't wait until you're at a trial to work with distractions. If you can get those distractions, like Lori is really good for distractions. She will, like, we were proofing long sits and she was like throwing things out of the desk and banging things on the floor and and it helps.
I specialize in being annoying.
Yeah,
but the other things
it really helps. It's not annoying. It's good.
And the judge will say, so before the exercise, the judge will either give you a signal or a verbal, and so all the time during class, Catherine will say it. Call your dog. Call your dog. Call your dog. Because when the judge says call your dog can't get up when the judge says call your dog. They have to get up when you say here or whatever command you use for a front. So we're yelling, call your dog. Call your dog. Call your dog. Sit your dog. Stand your dog.
Yeah, your dog has to listen to you, not the judge. The judges in novice are very nice and they give you a signal. And they tell you that they're going to give you a signal. So they say before the trial even starts, you do your walkthrough and they'll tell you this is where you're going to sit your dog for the recall. That's where you're going to walk. And I'll give you a signal when it's time to call your dog. Because the other thing I realized is that if you're not paying attention in that part, the judge could be whoop-wooing around their head. And if you don't recognize that that's their signal for call your dog, you might not call your dog.
Yeah, and then the judge looks at you like you're an asshole.
Exactly.
Like I gave you the signal. You're like, we're not going to a rodeo? I didn't know. I didn't know what the hell you were doing. Rappy Pappy? Is that what that means? I didn't know. Then she said,
wrap it up. Did I fail? Oh, damn.
I know. And then you just leave the ring. I thought you said wrap it up.
Oh my God, that's so funny. But it's true. You got to pay attention to the little things. And if you're like me, sometimes you lose your mind in that ring and you stop thinking.
I do. I black out.
Yeah, sometimes I do too.
Never even drank that much to get the blackout that I get sometimes when I'm in that ring.
But I will say the more you do it, the better you get at it. The better your nerves are. You can be more relaxed because you practice it. It's one of those things that you have to practice. You have to practice going to a trial. That's just the way it is.
So yeah, so if you go too, don't forget you get your walkthrough with rally and obedience. The judge walks you through, do your exercises. They tell you the walking pattern. For rally, you walk in the ring without your dog, of course. You go through all the exercises. Take your time. If you have questions, ask them. And
take advantage of those steps that you can take before you even get in the ring to get yourself mentally prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're doing something very simple, it takes a load off once you get in there. If you're not staring at the rally sign trying to decipher what the hell it means.
Yeah.
Take your time for sure.
Oh, this ended up being like a tips for competing.
Competing, yeah. Well, I hope we didn't scare anybody away.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I was never scared of competing. I just was never in a situation where I could do it, because with Ruben, I trialed with him 3 times for my novice title, and it was really, really rough. He really struggled. I struggled, and I knew that it wasn't for us. So I was anxious to get back into the ring, but I was also pretty nervous because I had had such a difficult time before. But once we got a few runs in of beginner novice, I was like, okay, I think she can do this. And then the older she's getting, the more I'm seeing that she does have a real aptitude for it, and she likes it, and she's not stressed in the trial environment either. Even when she was crated inside, she was quiet. She was laying down in the crate. So I know that she can rest in that environment, which is important, because if your dog's anxious in the crate, they're burning up all of their energy being anxious inside the crate. So if they struggle in that environment, I think it makes it really difficult to step into the ring and trial. And then, like I said before, for Raven and I, it's just the little things like recognizing where her strengths are, recognizing that in between the exercises are where I have to keep her attention. We have to practice with the ribbons. We have to practice with more distractions. I have to be really ready before we attempt open. And once she is ready, I'm certainly going to trial. In the meantime, I'm heading to New York this weekend to do some bird stuff. So hopefully that'll be a little reprieve from the obedience stuff. So that should be fun.
Yep, birds.
Yep, birds. And yeah, I don't know if I have anything else to say about that.
Just a crate. Usually people bring soft crates into a trial. Mm-hmm. Just know if your dog's going to break out of the soft crate or if it's going to be rocking and rolling, because you can bring a wire crate.
Yeah, actually, I think we should mention
a cover for your wire crate.
Yeah.
So that your dog can't see everything going by. It's a lot different. The cloth crates are so locked in that if your dog can't poke their nose through. But if you have a dog that's a little on the edge and you go to a trial, just make sure that your dog is in a quiet spot. I bring a towel or a sheet to put over the crate.
Or you can leave your dog in the car until it's your time if the weather is good.
Yeah. Buddha could care less, so I'm lucky in that way, and he's fine. He could pass out in a cloth crate. Like, if anything, if our time is coming up, I got to wake the kid up to, like, get him moving. Because if we're there, like I said, if we're there from 7 a.m. until 6 p.m,
oh God,
it's a long day. And sometimes
horrible.
after 6 rally runs, he'll pass out in the crate, and I'm like, oh God, you have to wake up, buddy. We have to do this again.
Yeah, you did was it 6 runs one time? Something crazy like that in one day?
6 runs because it's morning and night.
Yeah, that's so silly. Well, I did want to say about the cloth crates, because I did go to a seminar once a few years back, and I think it was very interesting. So we did a podcast after the seminar. It was a Larry Crone, Jay Jack, and Joel Silverman seminar. And a lot of the dogs were either crated inside or with the handler inside. And I didn't see a single cloth crate, because I think a lot of the people that go there don't trial and didn't even know that it was a thing. But if you are a seminar goer, if you're not somebody that goes to trials, but you go to these seminars, I saw so many people dragging their Rufflins out of their cars to put inside the seminar room. And those things are so heavy and awkward to lift by yourself. If your dog will hang out in a soft kennel, check it out. They're not super expensive. What's the brand? Is it Frisco? For the soft kennel?
I think that's the Chewy brand.
Just go on Amazon and look. They're soft kennels. They're not wicked durable. So if you have a dog that's just going to lose its mind in there and jump out and rip holes in it,
then
it's not going to be.
Don't get that.
It's not going to be a good fit for your dog. But if you have a pretty temperamentally sound dog and you go to seminars, but you don't go to trials and you want to be able to keep them inside, you should check out those soft crates. And when I go to stay in a hotel, I'm going to bring one with Raven so that she can sleep in there at nighttime. They take about 2 seconds to set up, and they have a nice handle on them.
Yeah, they're easy to carry.
Yeah.
Like they fold up to a suitcase,
Yes.
and they work like a pop-up tent.
Yep.
With their bars. And most hotels want you to crate your dog anyway. You might choose not to, but even Buddha, the most like solid and quiet of dogs, he'll do a little woof when he hears, like, because sometimes it's crazy loud in a hotel at night depending on who's staying there on the floor.
Yeah.
And it sounds like your door is opening, but it's the person next to you. I mean, he's loose at night, but if I'm gone, I will crate him.
Yeah. It's an option.
I mean, I try to take him as much as, like, even if like we're all going out to grab something to eat, I'll just keep him in my car and then bring him back. Because I rather when I go away, I always have him by my side.
Yeah.
I just like it better that way. And some venues will not allow you to bring a soft crate. I know that we went to Springfield and they were requiring everyone to have wire crates, which is why I brought a sheet and just covered it, just because for privacy and if people sit too close to your dog. And I like to give my dog space. And then also they have pads you can buy for the bottom of your crate. I mean, you could get a yoga mat, guys, and put it underneath your crate. You don't need a special crate pad, but keep that in mind too. Some facilities will want you to bring something to put on the bottom.
Yeah.
Like when I was at the Cape last year, we thought it was going to rain in September. I brought a whole plastic roll that you use if you're painting. And I just rolled that motherfucker out. And none of our crates got dirty because the ground was dirt. So I just rolled out that huge sheet of plastic for us and all of our buddies. And we all kept our crates there. It was great. They didn't get wet. They didn't get soggy. So yeah, plastic matting or...
And you can leave the crates in there overnight too. So if we go to a venue and it's like a Saturday, Sunday type of deal, oftentimes we'll leave everything set up for the next day if we're coming back. And likewise, if you're going to a seminar that's multi-day, probably do the same thing. So easy in and out. I do like those pop-up crates if your dog can handle it, which our dogs can, thank God.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so that's about all we have to say about that. And like I said, next week is going to be an episode with Melissa again, so stay tuned. If you guys ever have questions for the podcast, feel free to message them to me at FitPet Boston on Instagram, or at FPB Talks is the page for the podcast.
Even non-dog things.
Yeah, this is more of like a lifestyle podcast anyway. I think I'm going to change they don't have like a dog category that I can put the podcast in, so it's like business and entrepreneurship, which I'm like... Yeah, I know. But I think it could be more of like a lifestyle podcast because we do talk about just regular things sometimes.
Yeah. Mama Rose.
On occasion.
Mama Rose, who tried to get a discount on her cataract surgery at the doctor's this week.
Yeah, because older people, they never need that surgery.
No. Can I get a senior citizen discount? That's not how this works, Mom. I was like, get me the hell out of here. Blind as a bat.
Oh, thank God for modern medicine, though. She's going to feel so much better. I can't wait when she gets that surgery.
It feels like there's a rock in my eye. You didn't think to tell anybody about this sooner? You were.
This is not a false story. This is a true story.
Yeah. The other eye feels like it's just sand, but one of the eyes feels like it's a rock. And I was just blown away. Blown away.
If I felt like I had sand in my eye, I would go to the eye doctor immediately.
Right away. How uncomfortable. How uncomfortable.
But they're your eyes.
I know. Like, do you really want to mess around?
70% of your senses, like of all your senses, 70% of what you perceive through your eyes. Yeah. Which is sad because I wish it was a little bit more evenly spaced, just so that, you know, our eyes are so freaking important.
Oh my God. Can you imagine Buddha being a seeing-eye dog? Somebody whip out a toy. Off he goes, carrying Rose off like a kite.
No.
See you later.
I would love to have a guide dog person come in and talk.
We should fetch one of those.
I have a few connections. I think I should. I think it would be so interesting to actually have somebody that has a service dog or knows how to train a service dog.
That'd be awesome.
You know, I shouldn't say that. Melissa did a great job training Daisy to task. But
somebody who...
I shouldn't say but.
Seeing eye dog.
And I think that
different.
A seeing eye dog is different. I mean, that dog has so much responsibility. It's unbelievable. And I also think that there's a lot of scammy stuff going on in the service dog industry. I was so glad to have Melissa on and just talk about like real life examples of what Daisy can do and how she acted and all of the training that went into training her, because we have a few stories of people getting ripped off bringing their dog to people that are quote unquote training them to be service dogs. And thousands of dollars later, nothing has been done. And I think a lot of it has to do with the temperament of the dog, but also has to do with the expectations of people and dog trainers that are trying to make a quick buck. So I would love to have somebody from Guide Dog Service come talk on the podcast eventually. If you know of anybody, hit me up.
That's all she wrote.
And that's all she wrote.
Rappy Pappy.
Rappy Pappy, people. That's a wrap. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.